Hello guys!
We are from 12 Impact. I am Cakra.
And I'm Melissa.
In this video, we will talk about the normal gait.
So, the definition of the normal gait is the common term for the way that the baddest people able to walk, even though everyone walks with different pattern. Why we have to study normal gait? Because we need to learn about the normal before we can observe the abnormal gait. And then, when we understand about the normal gait, it helps us to set the best alignment for the prosthesis and orthosis itself.
Step length is distance between placement of different feet from heel to heel. Straight length is distance between two placements of the same foot from heel to heel. And then one straight length is equal to two step length.
Walking best, usually 50 until 100 mm, is the distance between midpoint of the heels. Line of progression, approximate line of the center point of the boot along the path during walking.
Okay, for the two out is the angle between line of progression and long axis of the foot between the second toe and third toe. Okay, for the cadence is the amount of steps taken in a given time, and usually number of the steps taken in 1 minute. And then for the each person, the cadence it will differ.
Body subdivision is divided into two units. First is passenger unit and the second one is locomotor unit. Passenger unit is consists of head, abdomen, and trunk. The upper body is relatively passive passenger unit that ride on a locomotor system. They don't directly contribute to the act of walking. And the second one is locomotor unit. Locomotor unit is consists of pelvic and both lower extremities. 11 joints are involved. The motion in each limb are controlled by 57 muscles. The body segments serve as the lever.
In normal gait, it has basic function. There are weight acceptance for stability, shock absorption, progression, and energy conservation. And then fourth basic function is weight bearing stability. It function to maintain limbs ability to support the body weight. For example, when the extensor muscle is worked to maintain the ability.
Okay, for the first rocker, using the heel as the fulcrum, the foot rolls the true plantar flexion, and then the vertebral muscle accelerate the foot drop, and draw a tibia forward, preserving the heel rocker until the end of the loading response. For the second rocker, with the ankle as the fulcrum, the tibia and whole the limb rolls forward in response to the momentum. The rate of tibia progression is the accelerate of the soleus muscle. The third rocker is heel rise, move the body weight across the forefoot. Both the foot and limb roll forward over the unstable area of the support provided by the rounded metatarsal heads. The gastrocnemius and the soleus active to stabilize the ankle. And then next to the fourth rocker, the body weight factor advance to the metatarsophalangeal joint allow the foot to dorsiflex rapidly about the base of the two. Shock absorption. Shock absorption is the rapid impact of the body that transfer into the limb. The force will reducing by knee flexion. Quadriceps will predicting the force. For your information, the knee flexion is the second and the largest shock absorption mechanism.
And then this is the energy conservation. So energy conservation, the aim is to maintain the normal walking velocity and the body used two mechanism. The first is COG alignment modulation by minimize the displacement of COG when walking from a level line of progressions to reducing the muscular effort when walking and for saving energy. And on adult human, the position of the COG itself is anterior of the S2 or sacrum 2, and then the COG will shift or will change will and follow the body changing. And then the higher COG is on the mid stance, and the COG will falls or the lower at lower of the COG in the double support limb. And for the lateral displacement, the body will sway to leg that is on the ground, and the displacement is less than 50 millimeters. And for the pelvis dip, the pelvis will drop to the swing side about 5 degree. And then for the rotation of the pelvis will swing anteriorly with the swing leg about 4 degree. And then the second mechanism is selective muscular control. So when walking, the body will confirm to the muscles to select the muscle that we have to activate based on the contribution to the movement that the people is move.
Looking at the gait cycle, the phases can be divided into two parts. There is stance and swing phase. Stance phase, when the foot is contact to the ground, the stance phase makes up to the 60% of the gait. Begin with initial contact. Stance phase have 3 intervals. First, initial double limb stance with 10%, and then single limb stance with 40%, and terminal double limb stance with 10%. And then there are swing phase. The foot is in the air for the limb advancement. The swing phase makes up to the 40% of the gait. Swing begins with the foot is lifted from the floor.
For the path of gait, the term have a two type is the traditional and natural is amigos or RLR. For the traditional, heel strike, foot flat, mid stance, heel off, toe off, acceleration, mid swing, and the last deceleration. And then for the rancholas amigos or RLA, have a initial contact, loading response, mid stance, terminal stance, pre-swing, initial swing, mid-swing, and the terminal swing.
Initial contact is the first phase of the normal gait. In this phase, there is initiation of heel rocker for progression and shock absorption. Initial contact at the ankle joint, GRF, is posterior of the ankle joint and create plantar flexion moment. For the muscle action, there is dorsiflexor muscle such as tibialis anterior, peroneus tertius, extensor digitorum longus, and the extensor hallucis longus. Contact at knee joint. GRF is anterior of the knee joint, creating the knee extension moment. And for the muscle action, there is anterior and posterior stabilization by the quadriceps and hamstring. And last but not least, the initial contact at the hip joint. For the GRF is anterior of the hip joint, creating hip flexion moment. For the muscle action, stability preserved through active support by both the lower gluteus maximus and adductor magnus as primary extensor and forced by hamstring.
Loading response. First double stance period, it follows initial contact and continues until other limb is lifted for swing. Goal of this gait is for shock absorption, weight bearing stability, and preservation of progression. From sagittal at the hip flexion in 30 degree with GRF at the anterior, and for the knee joint flexion is 0 until 18 degree with GRF at the posterior, and at the ankle in plantar flexion is 0 degree to 10 until 15 degree of plantar flexion. From the coronal, hip GRF at the medial and create adduction moment. At the knee, GRF at medial create varus moment, and at the ankle, GRF at lateral to subtalar joint create pronation moment. And for the hip, the muscle activity is hip flexion moment is restrained by gluteus maximus, and at the knee, increasing quadriceps activity to restrain rate of knee flexion moment, and at the ankle, after floor contact by the heel, the foot quickly drops into 10 degree plantar flexion controlled by pretibial muscle.
Mid stance. Mid stance is a midpoint between heel strike and heel off. For the mid stance,
is around 10 until 30% of gait cycle. For the mid stance is first half of the single leg stance, and then for the ipsilateral is mid stance, and then for the contralateral side is mid swing. At the mid stance, the hip in 30-degree flexion until to neutral extension, and then for the knee is 15-degree until 18-degree flexion, and then for the ankle is 10-degree plantar flexion to 5 until 7-degree dorsiflexion. During mid stance, the GRF is passed to the anterior of the ankle joint, and then it will create the dorsiflexion moment. And then at the knee, the GRF will pass through the posterior to anterior of the knee. So it will create the moment is flexion to extension moment. And then the GRF will pass through the hip joint. It will create the decrease of flexion moment and into the extension moment.
Terminal stand is start from the heel off and then continuing until the contralateral it's make initial contact. And then the degrees of the hip is 10 until 15 degree of the hips, and then after that 18 degrees flexion of the knee, and then 5 until 7 degree of the dorsiflexion at the ankle. And then for the GRF at the hip is start from the posterior and then creating the hip extension moment. And then for the muscle activity or muscle action of the hip, there is passively extension by 10 degree of hyperextension, and then there is no hip extensor muscle that during working or doing activity. And then the second one, there is a knee. GRF of the knee, it is in the anterior of the knee and then creating the extension moment. And then for the muscle action, there is the knee hyperextension moment by restrained by the gastrocnemius and soleus. And then the third is the ankle. The ankle is the GRF is anterior of the ankle, and then it will creating the dorsiflexion moment. And then the muscle action, there is gastrocnemius and soleus.
Okay, this is the press swing. Pressing is the last contact of the foot with the ground, and this is the end of stand press. For the hip, in 10 degree extension, the knee in nearly full extension to 40 degree flexion. The ankle in 5 until 7 degree dorsiflexion to 20 degree plantar flexion. For the GRF at the hip is posterior. It will create extension movement. And for the GRF at knee is posterior. It will create flexion movement. And then for the GRF at ankle is anterior. It will create dorsiflexion movement. For the muscle activity at hip is hip extension movement. Is opposite by adductor longus and rectus femoris. For the muscle activity at the knee is passive knee flexion to 40 degree, restrained by rectus femoris. And then for the ankle muscle activity is rapid ankle plantar flexion simulated by concentrically stretched soleus and gastrocnemius.
Initial swing, lifting the toes from the ground signal to the unloaded limb. Foot clearance depends on adequate knee flexion. The percentage around 60 until 73% of gait cycle. Hip and knee flexion is rapidly changes. Hip from 0 change until 20% flexion, and knee from 40% change until 60% flexion, and ankle from 20% change until 10% plantar flexion.
Mid-swing is the third progression of the swing pass. It will start at swinging foot is opposite to stance and ends when swinging limbs is forward and the tibia being vertical. And then the purpose of the mid-swing divided into two. The first one for limb advancement and the second one for clearance the foot on the floor. And then the characteristic of the mid-swing: first, hip will 30-degree flexion, the knee will 30-degree flexion too, and then for the ankle will 10-degree plantar flexion and will make the neutral position. The muscle that work during mid-swing or at the hip joint, it will using the iliacus, gracilis, and sartorius. And for the knee joint, no muscle activity because the gravity does the work. And then for the ankle joint, it will require the pretibial muscle for supporting ankle dorsiflexion to neutral position.
Okay, the last is the terminal swing. This is the final phase of the swing phase. The definition of the terminal swing is the beginning of the vertical tibia and ending when the foot strikes to the floor. And then the terminal swing is in 87 until 100% of the gait cycle. The condition of the joints of the leg, the hip joint is in 30-degree flexion, the knee tended to 0-degree flexion, and the ankle is in neutral position or slightly dorsiflexion moment. And then for the muscle activity of when the terminal swing, the hip will be activated by the hip extensor to stop the hip flexion, and then the knee will activated by quadricep muscle, and then the ankle will activated by the dorsiflexor muscle to dorsiflex the foot.
Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.